Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of ADMAIL. This is Adam Bergman, founder and CEO of IRA Financial. I'm here to help you find the answers to the most frequently asked questions from my clients about self-directed retirement accounts. If you want to learn more, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Just search IRA Financial. Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial, and welcome to another episode of ADMAIL. On today's podcast, self-directed IRA contribution basics. 3 questions that will involve rules surrounding contributions to a self-directed IRA. So this should be a very interesting podcast if you are thinking about ways to add money to your self-directed IRA and are curious about how you can make IRA and self-directed IRA contributions, traditional and Roth contributions in the same year, or even moving money from a 401k to help fund a self-directed IRA. So without further ado, let's get started. First question is from Kelly T, and Kelly wants to know, can I contribute to a self-directed IRA and an IRA in the same year? So Kelly, the good news is yeah, because guess what? An IRA is a self-directed IRA. There's really no distinction. The only difference is a self-directed IRA will let you do alternative asset investments like real estate, but it follows the same contribution, distribution, investment rules than an IRA, other than what you can do. So in 2024, you can put away 7K if you're under 50, 8K if you're over 50, in an IRA or self-directed IRA, but you're limited to that 7 or 8K. You can't do 7 to an IRA and 7 to a self-directed IRA. Why? Because a self-directed IRA is an IRA. It just lets you do different types of investments. The word self-directed IRA will not be found in the tax code. It's just a term of art. It's not a legal term. It doesn't mean anything. You can call it an ADM IRA, right? So it doesn't matter. It's just an IRA that is allowed to do alternative asset investments. So Kelly, yeah, you can invest 3K in an IRA, 4K in a self-directed IRA. You just can't go above the 7 or the 8 if you're over 50. So thank you for that really good question, actually. And actually surprising, but I get this question a lot, where people just think a self-directed IRA is a totally different IRA, totally different rules, and it's not, other than companies like IRA Financial will just let you invest into alternative asset investments with your IRA. Whereas with just a regular old IRA at a financial institution, they'll call it quote unquote self-directed, but you're only going to be allowed to invest in assets they sell. Whereas with a self-directed IRA, your only limitation is the tax code. Second question is from YouTube. Can I do a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA contribution in the same year? So it's kind of a very similar question to question 1. So yeah, you can go up to $7,000 or $8,000 if you're over 50. The one thing to keep in mind with the traditional IRA is if you're going to take a tax deduction, there are certain rules you have to keep in mind. Okay, so for example, if you have no access to a 401k at work, then even if you make $50 million a year, you can still do an IRA contribution of 7 or 8K. Okay, however, if you're single, okay, and you have access to a 401k at work, if you make more than 87K, you can't do a pre-tax IRA. We'll see, you'll be able to do a Roth potentially or an after-tax IRA and convert it to Roth, but you can't do a pre-tax deduction. If you're married and the spouse that's making the IRA contribution makes more than 143K, that spouse cannot do a pre-tax IRA. You can do Roth or an after-tax IRA. And if you are contributing to an IRA and your spouse has access to a 401k at work, not you, but your spouse, then if you make more than 240K, you can't do a pre-tax IRA. Now for Roth IRAs, it's simple. If you make more than 240, married, filed jointly, or 161K single, you technically cannot do a Roth IRA. But if you've listened to my podcast, watched my videos, read my blogs, you know that there's something called a backdoor Roth IRA that will let you make an after-tax IRA contribution and then immediately convert it to Roth. Since there's no more income limitations for Roth conversions, anyone could do a backdoor Roth IRA if you make 500K or $50 million. The only thing to keep in mind is that if you have other pre-tax IRAs out there, there is a pro rata formula that will determine how much of the IRA will be able to be converted to Roth and what will be subject to tax on that conversion. But that's a topic for another podcast. Third, so that's a really good question. I'm happy the individual from YouTube asked it. It's a great question. Third and final question of today's podcast, and that's why I love these podcasts. They're quick. They're, I think, to the point. They're now, at least the logistics of the podcast changed a little bit, where you're getting 3 questions that are centered on one specific topic. In this case, it's contribution basics, self-directed IRA contribution basics. So you're getting hit with like pinpointed, direct rocket ship type information, and you can digest it, I think, easily, quickly, and then kind of move on to other stuff in your day. So fun stuff. This third and final question is from Jesse Y. Jesse Y. Let's see what Jesse wants to know. If I have access to a 401k plan at work, can I make IRA contributions? So it's a great. So thank you, Barry, who produces this stuff. Great podcast and do a great job. This is very similar to question 2, right? So the numbers are, again, as follows. If you are single and you have access to a 401k at work, you can't make a traditional IRA contribution if you make more than 83K, right? If you are married, file jointly, and if you have access to a 401k at work, even if you don't make contributions, if you just have access and you're making the IRA contribution, if you make more than 143K, you can't do the pre-tax IRA. And if you are married, file jointly, and you don't have access to a 401k at work, but your spouse does, and you want to make an IRA contribution, if you make more than $240,000, technically can't make a pre-tax IRA. You can do after tax, do the backdoor Roth, but you can't do the pre-tax IRA. So they have these like very peculiar income limitation rules in there. It's kind of strange. Like the IRS is like, I think it's a policy mistake. I think they should be encouraging people to make more and more IRA contributions. It's a very good hedge against Social Security. It's also a very good supplemental mechanism for all our Social Security. So I think they're being short-sighted by being very focused on minimizing tax deductions instead of encouraging Americans to save in a retirement account. This may offer them an opportunity to have down the road less of a robust Social Security program, because more folks would have IRA accounts, and which would be able to supplement any shortfall in Social Security, which we know ultimately will be an issue down the road for us or our kids. So I think they're focused on limiting deductions. We get it, right? Limiting deductions means less tax revenue, which means greater deficits and less money to spend. And yeah, we all know both Democrats and Republicans like to spend money. It's not just a Republican or Democratic problem. They both are culpable. Since 1992 and President Clinton then and Newt Gingrich, we haven't had a balanced budget, and we're now in basically a $3 trillion a year deficit. We have over a $30 trillion budget deficit. It's a major, major issue. And I understand why they have to protect their spending, but I think they're being short-sighted. But nevertheless, if you are making IRA contributions pre-tax and you have access to a 401k at work, you have to be aware of those income limitations, because it could certainly disrupt and curtail your ability to make pre-tax IRA contributions. So that's it for today's podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. It's a fun one, short and sweet, right to the point. And hopefully now you know all you need to know, or at least more than you knew 10 minutes ago about self-directed IRA contribution basics. Thanks again for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, really appreciate it. If you have questions, submit them. Info@IRA Financial. You can just leave them on our amazing YouTube channel, or leave a comment on our podcast, or social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You'll find us, Twitter, X, whatever it's called now. And we would love to hear from you. Obviously, you'll be then, you'll get to hear your question live, and I'll be able to answer it for no charge. So what are you waiting for? Do it. There's a lot of great questions in the queue, but we always can use more. So send them in. Otherwise, appreciate it if you could leave a review or just a good comment. That always helps to boost the ratings of the podcast, which again, just lets more and more like-minded individuals who want to learn more about self-directed retirement accounts to find the podcast, which is why I do this stuff, right? It's there to help people, educate people, and make us all smarter and better and richer self-directed investors. So thanks again. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see everyone again next week. Take care.